Have you ever wondered how much it costs to install doors and windows into a shipping container? We're gonna break that down completely in this video, and you're gonna wanna wait till the very end, where we're gonna share with you the exact type of window that we use for our container homes.
So first things first, when installing windows, is you actually need to cut out a hole into the shipping container. This is probably the most daunting task and probably the riskiest task that you could probably do on a container home. From my experience, either if you're not comfortable, try and find a local fabricator who could do it for you. We like to use steel as our frames on our windows because we just learned that that's probably the best and most waterproof thing to use.
Yeah, we've used wood before in the past and I was not a fan of it. It ended up shrinking and ultimately led to water leaks. So steel is definitely the way to go. It's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, and there are fabricators you could find and welders in your local area. There's always someone looking for work. So from our experience, if you can do it yourself, it will save you tons of money.
For the cutouts, we typically will use a grinder. You can use a 4-inch grinding disc to cut out your holes for your doors and your windows. For a standard size window that's like say 3 feet wide by 3 feet tall, it could probably take you about 30 minutes. You do want to be very careful as you're doing this and make sure your measurements are very precise. That's huge. And you want to wear safety gear. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a sweater like Cameron with holes in it.
Thank you.
Using a plasma cutter is also a great option, especially if you're doing a lot of cutouts. Like if you're gonna be combining multiple containers or you have a bunch of containers getting cutouts and reinforcements done, a plasma is a great investment. It's also good when you get to your plumbing stage potentially where you need to cut out some of the members underneath the container. But Cam will advise you, you gotta be careful when you're using a plasma. Yeah. Because you could chop off a finger.
It would burn the crap out of your finger. Yeah, if you are going to use a plasma cutter, I suggest having someone around that has some experience or letting them do it because it's not a tool that, first off, it's an expensive tool. And second off, if you don't know what you're doing, you'll probably make more of a mess than trying to cut it out with a grinder.
And I remember on my second container home that I built, someone recommended a torch. And I didn't know better. I hated the torch. I thought it made it really difficult, actually.
If you don't know how to use it, then it's really hard to use.
Yeah, that was tough. So since then, we stuck with the grinders. It was simple.
So after you have your hole cut out, you're going to need to frame that hole with some square tubing. So we typically use 2x2 square tubing. We pick it up from a metal shop here in town, and we usually spend about $100 to $150 a stick, and they come in 20-foot lengths.
So you can kind of do the math. If you're doing a 5x5 window, it's gonna be just in steel material about $150. Plus your time to do your cutout, and then the cost for the window itself. Now typically when it comes to window costs, you can find vendors and get a window that is a standard size for a very affordable price, even from like a Home Depot and a Lowe's for maybe say $200 on average. So if you do this as a DIY project, all in for say a standard size window, you could be in around $300 to $350.
If you're planning on subbing out the welding on this job, a good number that we like to run with, it's a pretty average number, we go basically $15 per linear foot. So example, if you have a 3-foot window by 3 feet window, so 3 times 4, that's 12, times $15, that's $180 per window just to weld up your frame.
Now these rates can vary significantly. You know, if you're doing a build and you're in a major city, the cost for a welder, it could be $100 an hour, and this might be a 2-hour job for them to do that small window frame and installation. So you do need to use those numbers flexibly, but where we're at here in Las Vegas, you know, typically we're at about 15 bucks a linear foot. So to recap, if you're installing your own window, you're purchasing your own steel, and you're doing the labor, you can be in at about $300. Now, if you're just managing that process, you know, your containers on your home, and you're bringing in a sub that's gonna be doing that welding for you, you're gonna be closer to about $550. Now Now for doors, you have a variety of options. You know, we do single entry doors, French doors, large sliding glass doors, and even garage doors. And for all of those, it's a similar process to a window, and that your first step is the cutout.
So after you cut out the hole for the door sides that you're going to install, you need to frame that in, and that is basically the same exact type of steel for the windows.
Now, if you're doing a really large door that has a long width, you may need to increase the header size of that steel. So instead of maybe a 2x2 steel, it may have to be a 2x4 piece of steel, which will cost a little bit more. Now, when it comes to the actual cost for the doors, Cam, I know you do a lot of our ordering for the modern doors. Can you break down what our costs are typically for those?
So for just a single entry door, say 30 to 36 inches wide by 80 tall, you're probably be in the ballpark from anywhere between $500 to $2,000, all depending on what you want. The more windows, the more glass on the door, it's obviously going to jack that price up a little bit. So whatever your budget is, you know, just make sure you keep in account that the more glass and the more light you want coming into the home is going to cost you a little more money.
That's a good point. And I've noticed, you know, if you're going for an over-the-counter, more traditional style door, you know, you're closer to that $500 price point for a single entry door. Once you start creeping up into the more modern space, you want like a 5-light entry door that's really sleek looking, you're gonna get closer to $1,500 to $2,000. And honestly, could be even more than that, you know, just depending on who the builder of the door is. Now for some of the other types of doors that we do outswing French doors, and with a container home, we do like doing outswing doors a lot. It just helps clear up more space on the interior, and with containers being such a small footprint, that can really help you. Now on an outswing French door, our price points are closer to $2,000. You are getting a door that's twice as big as a single entry door, and there's a lot of glass in it, which allows for a lot of natural light, so they are nice. When it comes to sliding glass doors, the most affordable option is just a standard size over the counter from like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. Those are shockingly cheap. I mean, probably $500 for something that's say 5 foot wide by 80 inches tall. But a lot of times we have clients that want to do a large sliding glass door. So we'll do 12-foot, 4-panel glass sliders, and those can be closer to about $3,000. Now, one of the coolest doors that we've ever done in container homes are garage doors. Those look amazing. I love the style. And those typically for the garage door and installation is you're looking at around $6,500. It does vary by where you live. And that'd be for something that's say 7 feet wide by 7 feet tall. That's a glass roll up garage door. That doesn't include the fab work. So there is that cost that's a little bit more for a garage door as you need more backers to attach to.
So for example, if you're doing a 3-foot door by 80 inches tall at like $1,000, if you're doing it yourself DIY, you're probably looking at an all-in cost at like $1,200. And if you're gonna sub it out, you're probably looking at the difference of $500 between $1,700. So just take that into consideration when you are installing doors or windows. If you do it yourself, you are gonna save some costs. The plus to having a sub is that they're liable if anything happens.
That's true. So all in all, when it comes to costs for someone to DIY install a door and a window, for the window, you're at $300. For a door, like Cam mentioned, you're at about $1,200. So that's $1,500 for one door and one window. Now, of course, if you're doing a container home, you may have 5 windows and 2 doors, so that price will increase. If you're outsourcing it to somebody else, but you're kind of managing them, it's more of like a subcontractor or someone just independent or even a handyman that's helping you. We said for the window, you're looking at closer to $550 then. And for the door, you're looking at closer to $1,700, making it a total of $2,250 for a 3x3 window and an entry door. And like we just said, more doors, more windows, that price does go up. Thank you for watching. For more information about what we do, you can visit us online at alternativeliving-spaces.com. And for those of you that are a DIYer, I'd encourage you to check out our video linked below where we go over our biggest lessons after building 100 container homes. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.